Hey guys, Justin from thecarflip.com. I did a Facebook Live yesterday in our Facebook group, The Car Flip. We actually just hit 4,000 members in that car flipping Facebook group, the largest, most involved car flipping group in the world that I know of. So if you're not a member of that, be sure to check it out. I will try to post a link down below. Also, it's been a while since we've done a live, so if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to post and I will either come back and take a look at it later, or if you're here live, I would be more than glad to take a look and answer during the video. So like, subscribe, and I will continue on with what the post actually says. If you read the title before you came in here, it says, what is the best car to flip? And the reason that is the title of today's video is because that's a question that I got twice yesterday. I did the Facebook Live and I had two people that messaged me and asked that exact same question. They worded it differently, but basically they were wanting to know if I could, if I had to buy one car today, what would it be? And if you saw the picture of this YouTube, I about said Facebook video, this YouTube video, you saw me pointing to a specific vehicle. And if you know anything about me or if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I do enjoy Jeep Wranglers, but the best car to flip is not a Jeep Wrangler. It's not the car I was pointing to in that thumbnail picture. Although I do have a Jeep Wrangler right now over here, and I have another one around the corner right there, and I even have one more in the back. Wranglers are fun to sell, Wranglers are fun to own, but that doesn't mean that they're the best or the easiest to flip. Pickup trucks are great to flip, but that doesn't mean a pickup truck is the best car to flip. Sports cars, they're fun. I've got a Mercedes SL500, a Chrysler Crossfire right now. Nothing super special about those, but they're fun, but that doesn't mean they're the best car to flip. How about SUVs or minivans? Which one is the best car to flip? And the answer to that, the answer to what is the best car to flip, and in relation to the people that asked, from what I could gather by their questions and the interactions and some of the things I've seen them post in the Facebook group, they've never flipped a car before. So they've never actually done anything. They've talked about it, they've watched videos, they might be watching this video right now, and I hope that they are, because I'm going to give them the same answer that I gave them yesterday when I responded to their Facebook message. And the best car to flip is the one you'll actually flip, right? It's fun to sit down and theorize and think through and strategize, but unless you ever actually do anything, unless you actually buy the car, clean it up, fix it up, sell it, and make the money, it doesn't do you any good to know what the best car to flip is, because in actuality, there is no best car. There isn't one car that you should buy every single time. If you look at the cars that I have right now, and I do have a car dealership now, so it's different than if you were flipping on the side, but I've got a lot of different things. I've got a lot of SUVs, I've got a minivan, like I got the sports cars, the Wranglers, but you'll notice a little bit of a trend with what I'm doing. I've gone heavily into SUVs, so I do a lot of SUVs. You don't see any four-door sedans here. You do over here, but that's actually not mine. That's one that's here for some service repair. I have found, at least as of right now, that SUVs have sold better for me than four-door sedans, so I have more SUVs. Minivans generally do well. They're not fun, they're not sexy, but people need minivans. Like if you have a family, you have to have a minivan. Now the sports cars, those are just because I was at the auction. They look like fun, so I bought them. One's a convertible and one just caught my eye. So those are just because I was at an auction and I happened to buy them. But the best car to buy, the best car to flip is the one you'll actually flip, right? If it's your first time ever, you don't need to be looking at $20,000 and $30,000 cars, so you can rule those out. You probably don't need to be looking at $10,000 cars, so cut those out. You also don't need to be looking at $200 cars. Now, you might say, wait, that doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you buy the cheapest car you could? Because the $200 car probably is going to have issues that you don't know how to handle. It's probably going to have major issues, and you probably don't have a mechanic yet. You probably don't have a body guy yet. You probably don't have an interior guy yet. There's a whole host of issues you could run into that if you don't know the right people, or if you don't know how to fix things yourself, you could get yourself in over your head and you'll never flip another car again, because it's such a horrible experience. And I know a lot of people, their first car is just that. It's no fun. So find a car that you can comfortably buy You don't max out your budget, so maybe that's buying a $1,500 car or a $2,000 car, something like a Chevy Trailblazer or a Ford Explorer. And Ford Explorers and Trailblazers both have their reputations for little quirks here and there, so be careful if you buy a Ford Explorer that doesn't have a transmission issue or that it doesn't have a timing chain issue. These are things that you learn along the way. But maybe it is a Honda Accord, maybe it's a Honda Odyssey. Find that car that is priced well, that you can make money on. So for example, and I'm seeing a question here, I'll come back to that here in just a second, CWV. Find a car that when you're looking at comparables, so you're looking at, let's say 2006 Chevrolet Trailblazers, you're seeing them go for $3,000, $3,500, $3,200, and then all of a sudden you see one posted for $1,700 and you say, okay, well, what's going on with this one? Okay, it needs a thermostat or it needs a whatever. You need to understand that those could be bigger issues and know whether you need to jump on them or pass to the next. But if you find that one that someone's asking $1,700, it doesn't have any major issues, you offer them $1,000, they accept it, you can easily sell that for $2,500, $3,000, maybe even more, depending on the condition and miles. But those are the cars that you want to focus on, the ones that are within your price range, that you're not going to overextend yourself and get yourself in over your head. So I'm going to go to the question that we have posted here, if I can get it up in front of me. And I'm just going to read it out loud in case you are not seeing this and you're watching the video. It says, hey Justin, if you could do it all over again, would you still become a dealer? Or would you have taken a completely different path? It's an interesting question. I've heard a lot of people approach questions like that in different ways. And some people would say, you know, I would never change, I wouldn't change a thing. I do everything the exact same way. And I would still be a dealer. You know, there's things that I change, right? Like I wouldn't step in the dog poop, you know, that one time and all that fun stuff. But, you know, being serious, I would go the dealer route. For me, my backstory is I started out flipping cars 15, 16 years old. I eventually got access to dealer auctions because my dad became a dealer. So I was able to go to the auctions and flip, and it was a lot more lax back then. So we were able to actually have a dealer's license without actually technically having to have a dealership, a physical dealership. We were actually able to, anyway, it's a whole long story, but I was able to flip from my house and have auction access. So I could go to auctions and find vehicles. I could also use things like newspapers, which is crazy to think that we used to find cars in newspapers. But newspapers and Craigslist was fancy back then, so I'd find cars on Craigslist, that type of thing. So that's where I started, and actually ended up starting a dealership with my dad. So 2009, started from the ground up, built a dealership with my dad. I ran the day-to-day operations and eventually got to the point where I didn't want to run the day-to-day operations. I didn't want to build somebody else's business. I didn't want one day for my dad to hand me the keys and say, here you go, now it's yours. That just wasn't something that I wanted. I didn't feel right about it. I wanted to do my own thing. And so I went out on my own and I bought and sold cars with absolutely no dealer access whatsoever. So I went from having auction access to not having auction access, completely supported my family doing so. We lived a really nice life and I bought and sold directly from my driveway. And from there, I decided from a time standpoint, it'd be a lot easier for me to go to the auction and buy 5 or 6 cars at one time and have them out by the road where I do have road frontage and have the dealer access again. So I went out on my own, got this location, and went the dealership route all on my own without anyone else here with me. So I'm doing the exact same thing I used to do. I'm just able to make my own schedule. I'm not having to think about someone else's money and someone else's expectations of me. And it just feels good to do it on my own. It feels good to not be thinking about, like, I have 2 sisters and a brother. I never would have expected or even wanted for my dad to hand me a business when one day that's going to be everyone's. Like, it's not going to be, it shouldn't be my thing. So that's why I left where I was. That's why I ended up starting my own dealership. And yes, I would definitely do it all over again. Making the leap from flipping on the side to the dealership was a good decision. And if it's something that you're looking to do long term, I would advise you to go that route. Just from a time standpoint, from a ease of just everyday life, it's easier because eventually I'll be able to replace myself here. I'll be able to hire somebody to sit here at this desk and to do what I do, and I'll get to do the things that I enjoy doing. Like, I enjoy buying, I enjoy going to the auction. So there's several things that I do like doing. There are several things that I don't, like this massive stack of papers here, or the stuff on my desk. Like I do not like office work. It's not my thing. I do it and I've automated some of it, but those are the things I don't like. And the good thing about owning a business is you can eventually hire out the things that you don't enjoy doing, which is what I'm in the process of working towards right now. So I hope that answers your question. I saw a few more come through. I'm going to try to pull them up here. Let's see. Kareem says, hey Justin, what's your favorite auction and what do you think about state auctions? I think that's state auctions and not estate auctions. I'm not a huge fan personally of state auctions. If you're talking about like sites like govdeals.com, Govdeals, govdeals.com, that's a site where government, what's the word I'm looking for? Municipalities can post things such as vehicles, four-wheelers, heavy equipment, that type of thing, just random things. Sometimes there'll be, one time there was an entire bowling alley, like the bowling alley, not the building, but the lanes and all the equipment. Like just random stuff that states can post. And sometimes there can be deals up there, but generally I've seen the vehicles go for too much. They've gone for more than I would want to have invested. Another thing about that is sometimes you're able to go look at them. You're probably not going to be able to drive it or start the vehicle up. So for me, I don't deal in state auctions. That's not to say there can't be money made at a state auction, but I've not had the best luck. I've not bought any vehicles at a state auction personally. I would be able to get a better deal at an auction or from an individual. And I'm seeing, he just corrected and said out of state, if that's what you're talking about, out of state auctions, and you're here live, and I just talking about out of state auctions. For me, I don't do a ton of out of state auctions. If I'm looking for something specifically, so I have a customer that's looking, actually recently I had a customer that was looking for a Chevrolet Traverse, and I couldn't find the exact one that I needed locally, so I did go out of state for that vehicle. But generally I'm dealing with local auctions. There's two within 45 minutes of me, so I deal in local. I want to put my hands on it, I want to touch it, I want to start it, I want to scan it, I want to hook this thing up to it. I want to be able to read the codes, see if there's any issues. I don't want to buy something with an issue that I don't know about, or at least nothing major. So I don't want to buy a vehicle with a transmission issue or fill in the blank. We're coming back here, and let me get to the next question. I just had to cancel out a call from my wife, so she's going to be happy about that. Hopefully she doesn't watch this video and know that I did that. So let's see, next question, if I can get over to them. I saw one more come through. Elliot asks, what about higher end cars for longer term flip investments to drive for a while? I think there may be more deals with equity soon. I think you're right. I think there will be vehicles that people are looking to get rid of, that people are looking to dump because they don't need their money tied up in a vehicle. I'm not a huge fan of higher end, higher ticket vehicles, and that's just because, and I'll give you an example as why. If I'm looking at spending $30,000 on a vehicle, if I were to add up what I have, and I'll just pick a line, we'll start with this Ford Escape here. If I were to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I probably have less than $30,000 invested in all, 6 of these cars. The Equinoxes, we've got roughly, you can say $10,000 on both those, $4,000 on the Grand Cherokee, and I'm just guessing on these, that's probably close. Say 7 on the 4Runner, 9-ish on that one, and the Acadia is like $3,500. So you do the math, you add that up, and on each of these I'm going to make at least $2,000. The 4Runner I'll do a little bit better because I got a good deal on it. And the Grand Cherokee, yeah, $2,000 on each of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's $12,000 in profit, and it's also spread out. So whereas if you buy a luxury automobile, not to say there's not money to be made, but it's not incredibly likely that you're going to be picking up a $12,000 profit on that vehicle. And even if you do, that's one vehicle that you have to wait who knows how long to sell. For me, I could sell one of those and put $2,000 in my pocket and then go buy another vehicle. So the risk is kind of spread out amongst those vehicles. It's kind of like if you buy stocks, and I'll show you actually what I'm talking about from a stock standpoint. For me right now, I've been dabbling in the stock market. I mentioned yesterday that I had been doing so. Right now, I don't have all my money in one place. I've got money spread out amongst several different places. So you could, pick the shiny stock, pick a Tesla or pick an Apple or pick an Amazon or whatever, and put all your money in that one basket. And then a problem could occur, such as happened recently. There was a coffee company called Luckin Coffee. Had a really bright future. A lot of people had put a lot of money towards it, and then turned out they'd been fudging their books, and the stock dropped like 90% in one day. It was ridiculous. I'd actually considered buying it, but instead I have my money in companies spread out from Facebook. I have not a mutual fund, it's a fund that covers the entire stock market: Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Starbucks. These two are just random stocks. I'll explain why they're random in a minute. And then I have stock in Walmart as well. For me, that has meant I made $526 today. That's with $10,000 invested. Those aren't usual results because the stock market is kind of wonky right now. Those two stocks that were just random ones, they're like $4 or $5 stocks. Those are stocks that I got for free because people signed up using my link to a Robinhood account. Just for fun, I'll post below. If you are interested in dabbling in stocks, there's a cool app called Robinhood. It's free. They don't charge anything to trade. So as long as you don't make any stupid mistakes, it won't cost anything and you can make some money. But if you sign up, you get a free stock and I get a free stock. One of them was like SiriusXM, which is like a $5 stock. The other one was worth like $2.50. But just for fun, I'll put that link below. But that's why I don't do as much in high-end vehicles. For me, if I buy a high-end vehicle, it's going to be like a 2009 or a 2010, something BMW, Mercedes that I can still sell for $10,000 to $12,000. So I just don't get into tying up my money in more risky purchases such as that. So I'm gonna see if there are any more questions that I missed. I don't think I did. I think that was it. And if you have any follow-up questions with that, Elliot, I'd be glad to come by later and maybe take a peek. So, but that's, for me, going back full circle to the beginning. What's the perfect car to flip? The perfect car to flip is the one that you're not going to lose sleep about at night. For me, buying that luxury, whatever, $30,000 or $20,000, $30,000 car, I'm going to go to bed every night kind of thinking, I don't know if I feel so good about this. Now, if it's something that you already want and you have the disposable income and you just want to buy it just to have fun with. For me, that was a Mercedes SL 500, about a month ago. I thought it would be fun. I wanted a convertible. So I bought it at the auction. If it sells, great. If not, I've got a fun car to drive. So if that's your objective, by all means, buy something, have fun with it. The green Wrangler on the side over there, that was recently a car that I let my wife drive for a bit. It was fun. It's a four-door. I have 3 kids, so we could all fit in it. It was something I knew I could sell it. We could have fun in it for a while, and we posted it up for sale, and someone messaged me, so I took my wife out of it, and I didn't tell her, and so don't do that. It's a bad idea because she wasn't very happy. But I'm selling it, I think, tomorrow. Folks are supposed to come. They put down a deposit. So that was a fun vehicle that turned into a profit vehicle, and it actually was a really good profit. I think I made close to $4,000 on that one because I bought it right, and that's where your money is going to be made, whether you buy the luxury, the high-priced item, or you buy the cheap $1,500 beater. You're going to make your money when you buy it. You need to buy it right. So as long as you can buy that luxury car right where you can't lose money, you can't really go wrong, I suppose. But I prefer to buy 6 or 7 cars for that $30,000 than to buy one. That's just my opinion. But hopefully this has been helpful. I will definitely do another Q. There's my wife calling again, so I better get off of here. You guys have a great afternoon and evening, and I will see you in the next video.